Hello? Oh good, mine's not hissing as much. Thanks Becky. Okay, so I'm gonna play a short video. Does anyone watch The Apprentice? Who said no? You've missed out a lot on giving education. Put your hands up if you watched or seen The Apprentice before. Put your hands up. So not that many of you. Okay, good. So you're going to find the video of use. I just want to say thank Jackie and Becky for having me here today and making this possible. My name's Lee Mcqueen and I won The Apprentice in 2008. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about my story, my background, where I've come from, and why I'm actually here, what I'm doing. Happy for you to take some questions afterwards as well. So hopefully you find it of interest. Try not to talk while I'm talking, because that's clearly rude. So let's have a look at the video and we get cracking. Hold on one sec. Okay, take a look at this.
I've been in business for 40 years. Your prize is working with me. Lee, you're hard.
I'm concerned, Lee Mcqueen is concerned.
Gritty salesman Lee Mcqueen. Among his colleagues, one of the most popular.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about! We're rich in the man! Team Alpha! That's what we're talking about! Black bag! Why have I got to go buy a black bag and laugh for what? If I'm project manager and you don't pull your weight, any of you, you're going in the boardroom. Simple as that. Yes! Let's see! Come on, Jeff!
So it's great at selling. The main virtue, as far as I can see, anyone who can sell anything from tiny luxury car to thongs must be good at selling. Here's Lee the salesman.
Oh, hello ladies. Come to see the white man. Feedback's beautiful, really, really lovely. It's for us today. Thank you very much, man. Just have a little sitting in there, have a little food. My heart's racing just being in there into the business. Fantastic. It could be used as a starter, as a dessert.
Actually, I was just going to change my menu in 2 weeks' time.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad I'm too. I've got to ask you what size you are now. What I'm doing is I'm always guessing their size lower than what I actually think it is. What size is it? 8? Yeah. I don't take any money from you. I just need to get your commitments. I mean, how does that sound? I mean, fantastic. Thanks very much. You can see it. I'm buzzing. Yes, I'm passionate about it. And we're going to make millions, man.
Yes.
Let's go sell some more knickers. Wow. Well done, Lee. Good win.
I think it's terrific. He has this ability to just disregard any negativity and just get on with it.
Come on, Team Alpha, come on!
There's this kind of driving force behind Lee that propels everyone else who works with him.
Come on! What are you talking about? Come on!
I think he's absolutely brilliant. I mean, he does have that sort of barrow boy charm, but he can take orders, as we saw when Lucinda was, he takes orders very well, and he was also a really good team leader, so he's ticking all the boxes at the moment.
Would you trust him to sell anything for you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, there's no question of that. And I saw the way that he was focused when he did, when he was on the selling task, and also how passionate he was when things were going wrong. Because he seemed to always give his all, really, and he was never brought in by his team leader, mainly because he did contribute, and whether the whole team lost, the fact of the matter is he contributed, was a team player.
We work hard and we play hard and we have some fun, and it's a perfect example of that. I adore him, he's enthusiastic. I like to have him wrapped and brought to my tent. He's fabulous.
He looks like he can look after himself, but whether he's up to that challenge, Vanessa,
Lee, you're very popular. Just do it again for us, will you? Go on.
that's what I'm talking about.
So that was me making a wallet myself on a telly about 5 years ago. If anyone wants to talk to me about the Vanessa Feltz quote and the story behind Vanessa Feltz, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that offline. It is another story altogether. Tent wrapping. Okay, that's a little bit of a joke, right? So liven up, people. Okay, so again, thanks you to Becky and to Jackie for having me here today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my story, and hopefully you'll find it of use, and hopefully you'll find it interesting. It's not made up, so I apologise in advance if you don't find it interesting. As I said before, my name's Lee Mcqueen, and I'm just a normal bloke that grew up in a place called South Ruislip, which is over in northwest London. That's actually my family home, council house over in a place called Walnut Way. I come from, I suppose, it's a humble background really. My dad's a milkman. He's been a milkman for the last 43 years. He's still a milkman today. And my mum's a receptionist, a doctor's receptionist, as it happens. I was a kid that went to school. I've got an older sister, 3 years older than me. I was a kid that went to school with the second-hand trainers on. So when everyone else was wearing, your Reeboks and your Nikes and that sort of stuff, I was the kid that went to school with high-techs on. I don't know if high-techs are fashionable now. If they are, then I apologise. But certainly in my era it wasn't, and I was the one that was wearing them. I'm also the guy that whenever a birthday or Christmas came around, my parents done the best that they could. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that I had a bad childhood, I didn't. But when the birthday or Christmas come around, I was the one that had the rusty BMX that was made to look better than what it actually was. Okay, so everyone else had shiny BMXs and mountain bikes or whatever it was. I was the one that had the rusty one. There's always one, you probably know them, you might have been one yourself, who knows, but that was me. That was me in my childhood. One thing that taught me growing up in that type of environment is work ethic. I always worked. I worked for my pocket money. I worked for my dad on his milk round. So I'd done 2 paper rounds when I was 13, 14 years old, and then I had a milk round as well on the Saturday. And so as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid, I was actually earning 30 quid a week, doing my chores and all that sort of stuff, which was good. £30 a week's not too bad money at all, actually. And what that taught me was that work ethic. One of the things that my parents really tried to install in me was work hard. I've employed probably around 250 people directly. I've been in recruitment for the last 15 years and probably seen, upwards of, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people's CVs. Hundreds of thousands of people that have been applying for jobs. And the one common theme that employers actually look for is work ethic. That's what they look for. They look for people that have demonstrated that they can work, that they can have the ability to go and work, and that they actually want to work. So I think this slide and part of my growing up, although as I said to you before, I didn't have a bad childhood. I'm not slating my parents at all. I love my mum and my dad, but they did the best that they could. But ultimately, what they did install in me from a very young age was work ethic, the ability to go and work. There's probably a lot of people in this room that are kind of 17, 18, 19. There's a few different people that are a little bit older as well. At 17, what was I doing? I left school at 16 with GCSE level grades, one A to C grade, so I got 1 C grade. I got some D's and some E's and some F's. If I'm brutally honest, I got more E's and F's than I did get D's. I flunked, basically. I didn't have a great education at all. I was a kid at the back of the class that would burn rulers with a Bunsen burner, or do whatever I could just to be, have a bit of a laugh. I'm the cheeky chap here, if you haven't already noticed, and I was the one that didn't really pay attention. I think I'm quite an intelligent person, although you can make a decision after my talk, but ultimately I just didn't apply myself at school. I didn't know really what I wanted to do, flunked my GCSEs, so I went back to school for a year to do a BTEC diploma in information technology, BTEC first in information technology, hence what I was doing there when I was 17. I'd love to be able to say to you guys, do you know what, I took IT because I thought that, in 10, 15 years' time, technology is going to be an amazing, route for a career. But I didn't. I just didn't know what else I wanted to do. A couple of my mates were doing the same course, so I thought, do you know what, I'll just do that course as well. And ultimately my plan was, I flunked my GCSEs, and going down this route will allow me to get to university. if I went on and done a BTEC National after this, and then that would be my equivalent to A-levels in order for me to be able to get into uni. But I must stress that in my era, and I don't know how much it's changed actually, only you guys will be able to identify, but in my era, if you didn't get good GCSEs, it meant that you couldn't get A-levels, which meant you couldn't go to university, so you'd already failed. And I'm here to tell you that's absolute rubbish, because for me, it's not all about going to university, it's about taking something that's an alternate route. We have here the NKC Job Shop, which some of you might or may not be aware of. We have real life jobs offering full-time, part-time and apprenticeships for people like yourselves that might be looking for work over the next 6-7 months or so, or even beyond that. I generally hear, stand here, if apprenticeships were as sexy as what they are now, and they are pretty sexy now, you can do an apprenticeship not just only in engineering or skilled work, you can also do apprenticeships in social media, in business administration, in recruitment, in sales, and the list goes on and on and on. So if apprenticeships were that as sexy as they are now, for me, I would definitely have done an apprenticeship. The thing is, guys, they weren't, so I didn't. So ultimately, for me, I moved on. My route to a better education was thwarted by the fact that when I was 18, I had a mortgage. My parents split up when I was 17 years old. My dad, he had an affair and couldn't keep his bits where they should be. He had an affair, and my mum couldn't afford to keep on the then family home, so we moved out. And she said to me, "You know what, Lee? It's time for you to go and find yourself." So as a 17-year-old, I had to work 2 jobs, and I was actually renting. And this was probably the first time I had actually faced an adverse situation. So I was in a situation where my parents had split up, I didn't have a family home to live in anymore, and I had to go and rent. And I was paying about just under £500 a month for rented accommodation. I had to work 2 jobs. So I'm a bit of a cheeky chappy, so I thought, do you know what, I need a mortgage. This is ridiculous. So I went to see my bank manager. "Hello, Mr. Bank Manager," I said, "I'd like a mortgage, please." And of course, the bank manager said, "You're having a laugh. We don't just give out mortgages, you've got to do something. You've got to have a plan, you've got to earn yourself the right amount of money." I said, "Okay, so Mr. Bank Manager, what do I need to do in order to make sure that I can qualify for a mortgage?" So we put a plan together, sent my little 17-year-old bum, if you like, away, and I got 2 jobs. I worked 7 days a week. I worked really, really hard in order to make sure that I got enough pay slips, earned enough money to go back to my bank manager and qualify for that mortgage. Now, work ethic is the only thing that I've identified so far, and having a plan, and to me it's massively important. If you don't have the desire or the passion to want to work hard, then you're behind everybody else, you're behind your competition already. I've been working since 13, 14, my paper rounds, my milk rounds. I didn't have a problem with working, so therefore going to work 2 jobs 7 days a week for me wasn't a problem at all. Just give me a show of hands, who currently has a job? Excellent, really good. So for the people that haven't got a job, hopefully you'll find the rest of my talk and certainly some stuff on the careers advice with Mandy and the job shop massive of interest, because employers do actually look for people that are willing to or have had some sort of work experience. And I know it's a catch-22 situation, but there's a massive amount of talent in this room, and we can work together to make sure that you can get that experience needed. So I went back to the bank manager. I said to him, "I've done my plan. I've got what you wanted me to get. Can I have my mortgage?" He said yes. So I got my mortgage. So I'm proud. I'm proud of the fact that as an 18-year-old lad, I had a mortgage. I owned my own property. And I'm proud of for lots of reasons, but for 2 main reasons. The first reason is that I stand in now owning 3 different properties. I own a house that's got 5 bedrooms in it, it's got a tennis court in it, it's fantastic. And it's not because I'm rich, it's because I got on a property ladder at such a young age. I could have sat there and said, "Oh, my parents are split up, I can't do this, I can't do that." But I didn't. I didn't have that attitude. I had that attitude to say, "Do you know what, I can, and I'm going to make something out of it. So I'm going to take a risk," and I took that risk. I worked hard, and it paid off for me. The second reason why I have a wide smile, hopefully you understand this term, is I was a single bloke at 18 with his own house. Hello. Okay, now we're getting a bit of personality, okay? So you let your imagination run wild with that comment. Okay, I worked, one of the jobs that I worked in for 4 years is a trainee catering manager. I worked for one of the most prestigious schools in the UK. Actually, there was a documentary on it not so long ago on Sky One, saying it's one of the most prestigious schools in the world. It's called Harrow School, up on Harrow on the Hill. It's where Sir Winston Churchill went to school, which is one of our illustrious leaders back in the day. And I found myself working there. You know, the fellow from the council estate working in one of the most prestigious private schools in the country. Weird, but I found myself working there. And on top of that, my other job I was working at the time was in the paintball centre. I started as stock control administrator at Harrow, and I worked my way up to a trainee catering manager. I was working a lot of hours. I was probably doing, I don't know, 12, 13-hour days and not earning a lot of money, maybe £13,000 a year. And a lot of my friends would come in and they were earning more money than me. I was like, well, hang on a minute, I want more money. That's my driver. Sorry to be that open about it, but it was about money for me. It was about earning money. And I said, well, what are you guys doing? They said, oh, we're in this recruitment. I said, okay, what's that all about? They said, oh, you know, you have to get people jobs, you have to talk to people, you have to be a good judge of character, build relationships, and you get something called bonus, a commission. I said, what's that mean? They said, well, you get extra money for placing people. I said, well, that sounds like me. I can talk to people, I'll build relationships, I'm going to go for it. So I changed my career, I quit my job, and I went and started at the bottom rung of the ladder in recruitment, and I've never looked back. I've been in recruitment now for just over 13 years actually, and I've been an employer of people for the last 8-9 years. Now for me, what that's actually taught me and told me is that you can change, even though you make a decision now, whether or not you're 17 or 30 or however old you are, you can change your mind and change your career. That's not a bad thing to do. But the choices that you make right now will make a difference on what your outcomes are going to be later on in life. They certainly have for me. Recruitment is all about building relationships with people and talking to people, and also earning money. And yes, I know it sounds uncouth, but I wanted to earn big money. I had my mortgage and I wanted to progress. So I took the job and I did progress. I had a couple of jobs in recruitment, and then I found a fantastic career in recruitment at a company called Capita, where I worked there for 6.5 years. On leaving Capita, which was the job I had just before the apprentice, my business unit that I ended up managing was turning over £32 million. I had 30 staff working for me, 22 were generating revenue. I was doing okay. Not too bad for the fellow that used to wear second-hand trainers to school from the council house, right? Not too bad at all. Immensely proud of what I achieved. The thing is about Capita, and the thing is about my career, was I didn't need to do anything else per se. I was earning a lot of money. I was probably on about 90 grand. And I tell you this because I'm open and I tell you honestly what I was earning. I was probably earning about £90,000 a year. I didn't really need the apprentice. What I did the apprentice for and what I needed the apprentice for was a change. It was a comfort zone. It was something getting outside of my comfort zone. A lot of you will be right now in your comfort zone. A lot of you will be inside of that. Take a step out, see what it's like. Understand it, nip back in if you want, but be sure to know that if you step outside your comfort zone, that's when you're really going to push yourself and really going to achieve. So I did, and I won the apprentice. And in 2008, I beat 20,000 candidates to win it, which again, I'm immensely proud of. Stepped outside my comfort zone, massive, scary things in front of me. But yeah, I ended up winning. You can see, I don't know whether some of you can see me at the front here, sitting down, I've got a little smirk on my face. I don't know if that's because I knew that I was going to win, probably not. But this photo was taken before we even spoke to any of the other candidates, so it was right at the beginning of the process. It never ceases to amaze me that in The Apprentice, people that understand the format, basically on a week-by-week basis, you do a business task, and if you fail at that business task, you potentially could get fired, and if you win at that business task, you go through to the next round. That's effectively how it is for those of you who don't watch it. And it never ceases to amaze me that people didn't get that. They wanted to backstab and bitch against each other and talk on people's backs and try and discredit their people, when actually if they looked at it holistically and said, you know what, I'm going to work together as a team, I'm going to work together right now as a unit, and I'm going to be good. And if we're good as a unit, we'll win. And if we win, we can't get fired. That was my philosophy, and that's effectively how it should be. A lot of you will be working in teams right now. A lot of you won't see each other after college when you go on to bigger and better things, hopefully. But ultimately, throughout work, throughout your careers, you will be working together in a team environment. It's massively important, excuse me. It's massively important that you understand that working together as a team and coming together is essential if you're going to be successful. Some of the stats I've already rolled off today about my £32 million business, my big house or whatever, I couldn't do that on my own. It's not a lone crusade. I have to have good people around me to do that. Good teams of people that are helping me, supporting me, guiding me to make sure that happens. Don't ever worry about asking for advice. That's what the job shop's here for. That's what Mandy's here for in the information zone for careers advice. It's about understanding and getting support and guidance to make sure that you become the best that you can be. And that's ultimately the whole teamwork. And people in the apprentice didn't get that. You'll hear a lot of people say a strategy. What's my strategy? Or I've got a 5-year strategic plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have a strategy meeting about a strategy. And what does it actually mean? It's about having a plan. And a simple fact, you'll never get rocket science from me. I've already told you how bad my education was. You're never going to get rocket science from me. So let's not complicate things. Let's keep things simple. Simply, I had a plan to win the apprentice. And that plan was, don't get fired in the first week. I quit my 90 grand a year job. I quit my 30 people that loved me every time I walked into the office. I quit that. I didn't need to. I did it to challenge myself, to get outside my comfort zone, as I said before. So don't get fired in the first week. It's all a waste of time. Oh, please, sir. Can I have my job back, please? What a nightmare. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that it counts. If you're going to do something, make sure you go and do it. So don't get fired in the first week. Secondly, use my skills and experience that I've gained over the years, be able to build relationships with people. How many of you right now think that you can communicate? Yes, you can talk and you can speak and you can look at each other and whatever, but how many of you right now actually communicate more via email, via text, via social media than you actually do face-to-face and interacting with people? Employers want to be talking. Employers want to see you. They want to be talking to you face to face. Body language, enthusiasm. That's what they want. You saw in the VT, yes, I was quite passionate and a bit rowdy. That's what I'm talking about. But ultimately, it's about that enthusiastic approach. People like that. Put your hand up if anybody likes to be around a negative person. I'm glad no one did. Because everybody wants to be around a positive person. You ask yourself a question: do you want to be that positive person or that negative person? I can't do this, I can't do that. Yes, you can. You have the ability to. And that for me was about thinking positive, being enthusiastic, contributing, working hard, and building relationships with my teammates. And that got me through to the final five. And when I got to the final five, I said to myself, I can win it now because I'm in the final five. I can do it. I've got to here. For those of you who watch my series in Apprentice, you'll know that I lied on my CV. It was a massive faux pas, and I don't condone it, and I regret doing it. I lied on my CV around the education I had because I've got a complex on it. Is there anyone in the room that's perfect? A couple of people, of course. There's always one, at least. But I'm here to give you a reality check. There's no one perfect. No one's perfect, and everyone can learn, and everyone can change, and everyone can develop. And I messed up. I messed up big time. And I nearly messed up my whole apprentice journey. In week 11, they found out that I lied on my CV. Could have fired me. My record was supreme. I'd won 8. I'd only lost 3. I'd never been in the final 3 of the boardroom. And I said to him, look, if that qualification was relevant to this job, then I'll gladly walk away from this process. But you know what? It wasn't. It's a stupid mistake. And I've showcased to you my skills and experience that I can do. I've stood out from the crowd. I've been something different, and I've performed, and I've been brilliant. That sounds like you go to school, but no, I was good. So he hired me, and that's why I got away with it. So for me, having a plan and having something that you can map yourself against, having something that you can actually look forward to is hugely important. Can I ask you a question? Anyone got a plan here? Put your hand up, please. So, okay, maybe 1 or 2 of you. Okay, anyone got a goal? Something to aim for? Anyone got that? Put your hand up, please, so we can see. A couple more of you. Okay, the question to the people that didn't put their hand up is either 1 or 2 things. Firstly, you're bored and you're not listening to a word I'm saying and you don't want to interact. Or secondly, you can't be motivated. Can I ask you, how do you motivate yourselves if you don't have a plan? How can you get from A to B if you don't know where you're going? How is that possible? Finding out, setting yourself a plan, setting yourself a goal, setting yourself something to achieve or something to aim for is massively important. I stand up here and I do these talks in front of 17 to 19-year-olds. I stand up and do these talks in front of boardroom directors that have been directors of corporate organisations for 5-10 years. And the amount of people that don't have a plan or a goal is massively surprising to me. If it's a things to do list, if it's a goal that you want to achieve, if it's something to aim towards, that is your benchmark for you to be able to know that you're actually going to achieve something, to keep yourself motivated. People who ask me the question, Lee, you're so enthusiastic, Lee, you're so motivated, how do you do that? It's because I have a plan. It's because I have something to work towards. My current plan is to make my business a £1 million operating profit by year 5. I had a 5-year business plan. I need to double my turnover year on year, and at the end of my 5-year plan, I will have a business that operates on a profit of £1 million. I'm on target to do that. That is my plan. That is my goal. That is what I want to be able to do. I want to be retired by I'm 42 years old. I want. And it sounds a bit egotistical and so on and so forth, but it's just because I'm focused. So I had a plan to win the apprentice. I go on and win the apprentice, and then what do? I reset my goals. If you don't take anything away from today, please do this. Please take this away from me. Go away, write down 3 things that you want to achieve by the summer. They could be anything. They could be buying a new pair of shoes, to getting your qualification, to earning whatever it is you want to earn, whatever it can be, new cardigan, whatever. Just write the 3 things down and go and achieve it, and then tell me what you feel like once you've achieved. It's hugely important. It's hugely rewarding. Of the graduating class of Harvard in 1973, only 3% of graduates had clear written goals that they applied to all parts of their life. 10 years later, that same 3% had collectively more wealth than the other 97% put together. So I wish I wrote that statement because it sums up perfectly what I was just talking about. I didn't. I took it from the internet, that statement. But that statement is perfect. Do you know why? Yes, we're talking about wealth. But effectively, what that's saying is if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a goal, you're going to fail. That's pretty much what that's saying. And what's the saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail? Absolutely agree with that. I'm not saying for 1 minute go out there and just research everything and do all that sort of stuff all of the time. What I'm saying is have yourself a plan, get focused and try and achieve. I would rather fail trying to achieve than achieve having not planned. I don't know, something like that. But ultimately, for me, it's about giving it a go and really trying and pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone. Really, really important. So I just talked about achievement. What are the magic words? Yeah, I got the finger. I got the Lord Sugar finger, but it was your hired finger. I didn't get the you're fired. I got the you're hired. I got the you're hired because I worked really hard. I pushed the boundaries, I stepped outside my comfort zone, I built them relationships, and I done what I thought I needed to do. And ultimately, that's why I got it. So yes, it was fantastic, and I can live in that glory, but I reset my goals straight away, and I went again. So I reset my goals, I go again, now what do I want to achieve? Within 7 months of setting up a business called Amscreen, a digital media business, we signed a business deal with BP worth £5 million. As a start-up organisation. That's amazing that we could do that. We did that because we had the desire, the commitment, the ability to go and push boundaries and move that forward. And because of them key attributes, that is why I believe that we were relatively successful in a short space of time. Once BP signed, Shell signed, Total signed, Esso signed, all major petrol stations, Amscreen's now the leading digital media business within the petrol station or convenience market, and it's gone pan-European. And one of the reasons for that is because we had to reset our goals and go again. I could have won the apprentice and I could have gone, whoa, I'm done now. Nice one, 100 grand a year salary, thank you very much. Might get fired in the next 9 months or so because I'm not really doing anything for my money, but still I won the apprentice, didn't I? But I decided not to. I reset my goals and then we went on to achieve again. And again, guys, I think that's really, really important. You all have the ability to do it. Remember this, I've got no GCSEs, I grew up in a council house, my dad's a milkman, I wore second-hand trainers and I'm standing there telling you my story of this. So if I can do it, anyone can. That's the message, right? That should be the message. So for those of you interested in The Apprentice and what goes on telly, what you don't see is you don't see the fact that we get our wallet, our keys, our mobile phone taken away from us completely. We live away from our family for about 7 weeks, just over 7.5 weeks, and we don't get a day off during that time. So we're constantly filming and we're constantly working. To put that into context and get some credibility around it, my day started on the first day of The Apprentice at 4:30 a.m. On the Monday. We've done the fish task, which you saw me selling some nice sea bass, I think, earlier on the video. We've done the laundry task as well, and we've done some filming and that sort of stuff as well. And we didn't finish until 2:30 a.m. on the Wednesday. Okay, so it's 46 hours straight. Now I'm looking at you guys, I'm thinking, yeah, there's a few party animals in here, you probably go a weekend bender for two days. But 46 hours straight is an absolute eternity to not have a shower, to stay in the same clothes and to make sure that you can perform. That's really, really tough. And the reason why they do that is to test you, to see whether or not you've got the stamina, see whether you've got the resilience, see whether or not you've got that determination, that commitment to want to get through and ultimately get the job. And that's what employers are doing. You know, think of this as The Apprentice isn't real life, right? It's got nothing to do with business. The Apprentice is a job interview. That's what The Apprentice is, a job interview from hell, but it is a job interview. So ultimately, Lord Sugar, as he's now known, Sir Alan, as I know him, is actually seeing if you can showcase your ability in front of him week on week on week, making sure that you can actually do the things he wants you to do. And ultimately, I passed that test. What you don't also see on the telly is you don't get a phone call you get one phone call, so you get one phone call a week home to a loved one. So I've said a couple of jokes here already, so I'm not going to go with the third joke because it'll probably fall on deaf ears. So, but basically what happened was we have somebody who is they call a chaperone. They sit in a room with you and you have basically a 10-minute phone call to somebody that you wanted to nominate, and you have that phone call, it's listening on, and as soon as that 10 minutes is up, they hang up. If you have a bad day in The Apprentice, the people that made you have a bad day, your candidates, the people that I showed you on the picture before, think about this, let's put it into context. If you guys right now have a bad day, what do? You go home, speak to your best mate, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mum, your dad, whoever it is, somebody, don't you? You go and speak to a guy, for God's sake. I had that fellow waffling on today, Lee Mcqueen, don't know what he was talking about, it was a really bad day. How was your day? The problem is that when we have a bad day in The Apprentice, the people that made it a bad day are the people that we can talk to. Yeah? It was the same candidates that made us have a bad day. We're the ones having to moan against them. So it's a very closed environment. Really, really tough environment to work in. And then plus, on top of that, you have to then go out and perform week after week on a task to make sure that you can showcase your best ability. So having that resilience, that determination, that ability to be able to get on with people and build relationships was absolutely key. It's just a bit of an insight into the whole Apprentice piece. I'm actually getting my excuses out here, which is why you saw me earlier on the telly being a Wally. So what now? I worked for Lord Sugar for 2.5 years. I built a digital media business with him and his son Simon Sugar, which is now pan-European, as I talked to you about before. Some fantastic contracts that they've actually got. They're an advertising business. For those of you who drive, you go into a petrol station, you'll see an advertising screen, advertising the weather and advertising the traffic reports and various different brands. That's what we built. As I say, gone pan-European. Now I run a company called Raw Talent Academy. I founded this organisation just over, I just clicked into my 4th year, so we're just over 4 years old. We're in a business that is about talking to 16 to 24-year-olds, taking that raw talent from the country, from around the UK, and providing them the skills, experience and development to become the next superstars in sales. Sales is a dirty word. People don't look at, I'm going to go into sales as a career. You can earn outstanding money in sales and have fantastic longevity as a career, as I've hopefully demonstrated for you today in terms of being in recruitment sales. We're an award-winning business as well. We've already won 2 awards I've been nominated this year for the best small recruitment business as well. And I'm extremely proud to say to you that from nothing, I built a business that has turned over year on year. It's doubled its turnover. It's on target to hit, £1 million OP, and I now employ 18 people. So in a world where people say there's no jobs, in a world where people say there's doom and gloom everywhere, I built a business from my back bedroom that now employs 18 people, and they're on a monthly salary, and Marco is one of them guys, who's one of my top sales guys, so happy days on there. Actually, for more information on RTA, if you want to have a look, it's rawtalentacademy.com. You can follow us on Twitter at @RTA_rec. You can follow me on Twitter at Lee Mcqueen. Just a couple of personal plugs if you fancy it. But do get involved in rawtalentacademy.com. There's some great advice on there about careers and all that sort of stuff as well. If you need more career guidance, the Information Zone, the Career Centre with Mandy here, and obviously the Job Shop. But just have a show of hands. Has anyone been in the Job Shop? Just again? Oh, a couple of you. Good. For those of you who haven't, get yourself involved. It's awesome. They will be able to help you. Okay, just a couple more slides from me before I take some questions. Knowledge is power for me. I've already explained to you that my education was poor, and that my ability to be able to retain information in combined science when I'm burning a ruler with a Bunsen burner was quite difficult. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm not intelligent. And for me, knowledge in the sector that you're working in, whether or not you're working in performing arts, whether or not you're working in mechanics, construction, electronics, whether or not you're working in business, travel and tourism, whatever it is, knowledge is power within your particular sector. So if you don't have that knowledge, or you don't have the thirst to take on that knowledge or to retain that knowledge, then you're going to be behind your current competition. I'll tell you a quick story. When we won the £5 million contract for BP at Amscreen, the reason why we won it is because our competitor, our major competitor, who was already supplying to BP, didn't have the knowledge of us. They didn't do their homework on us, they didn't know that we were the new boys on the block, they didn't know, they wasn't bothered about us. But because we had that advantage, we ended up nicking their business effectively, or taking their business off them. It's a harsh lesson. They lost a £5 million contract because they wasn't worried about knowing about us. So put that into context with you guys, is sometimes that knowledge, retaining that knowledge and understanding your market sector is absolutely crucial in order for you to not only get a job, but also for you to achieve the qualification that you want to achieve. But don't do what I did, yeah? You're here for college for a reason, you're sitting in these seats for a reason, okay? So make sure you give it your all and pass and fly through with a distinction or with a merit or whatever grading system you've got. You may as well, right? There's no point just coasting through, you may as well give it a go and do it. And then look back and go, do you know what, I've done my best. And that's all we're asking for here, we're asking for people to do their best. Knowledge will have a strong say in how successful you are. Because if you're not worried about knowledge, just if you think, oh, don't worry about it, I'll blag it, it'll catch up with you at some stage. People, you're doing job shops, you're doing career advice and that sort of stuff. I think you've got mock interviews and stuff like that coming up. Sorry? Work ready, sorry, you've got work ready stuff coming up. One of the things about being work ready is about knowing who you're employing, who you're actually going for a job for. If you've got a work ready interview and you go there and do no preparation whatsoever, you're setting yourself up to fall. You're setting yourself up to fail, no? Do some prep, understand. If you're going for a job and it's working for, say the college, understand, for example, what the college do, what is their main objective, what's their mission statement, what do they want to achieve, how do they want to do that. Where can you get this information from, guys? Sorry, say again, to shout out? Internet, 100%. That's where you get the information from. You get your information from the job shop, from talking to people, from talking to your college, talking to your tutors. Yeah, finding, understanding, thirst for knowledge, massively important. Show me raise your hands if you will, if you participate. How many people are on social media? Amazing. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Wow. How many people know how to use Google? Raise your hands. There you go. Who doesn't? I parent using Google with my 3 children. I don't know what to do. Sometimes as a parent, I Google it. It tells me what to do, okay? It's massively powerful tool. Use it, it's at your end of your arm. Most of you have got smartphones. Get on the smartphone, Google it, understand it. If you wanted to find out about my background today, for example, if you was interested, because you knew that I was coming in, you could have Googled me. It would have come up, probably half my story would have come up. So it's really important. If you're going to see Lee Mcqueen for an interview, for example, Google him, find out what he's been doing at the weekend, look at his Facebook page. I might have run a half marathon for Cancer Research UK. You can now come and talk to me and go, oh, I've run a half marathon, you've got something in common, you're now standing out from the crowd. Make sense? Does it make sense? Is it simple? Completely. You won't get rocket science from me. So I'm going to come to the end now. I'm just going to finish off on this. I need to qualify that I'm a big Tottenham fan, yeah, Tottenham Hotspur fan. So I'm not a Liverpool fan at all. But what I've been talking about here, and being in a adverse situation with my mortgage, and sometimes being in tough situations around the apprentice, and actually setting up a business, etc. I think Steven Gerrard and the Liverpool team of 2005 sums up to a T. Is anyone a Liverpool fan? Okay, so we're going to like this a little bit. Well done. In 2005, Liverpool travelled to Istanbul, to contest the Champions League final against AC Milan. Let me set the scene for you, right? For those of you who are not football fans, Liverpool are, they've had a bit of a dry spell, right? It's fair to say, for about the last 20 years or so in terms of the domestic league. But they've won the Champions League, the European Cup 4 times previous to this trip. So they're no mugs, right? There's no mugs in football. But they were travelling to Istanbul to play AC Milan, as I said. And AC Milan have won the title, the Champions League, 7 times. So they were the underdogs. Anyone that knows anything about football, at half-time, they were 3-0 down, and it's kind of game over, right? So they've gone out there, they've had an absolute shocker, a 3-0 down at half-time. And Steven Gerrard, as you notice, is the captain of Liverpool. He's been there since he was 8 years old, cut him open, he'll probably bleed Liverpool, and all that kind of jazz. He wanted to make history that day with that football club. And he had a choice. The captain of the football club, he had a choice. He walked off the pitch like this. We've blown it, what a nightmare. Or he says to himself, do you know what? Okay, so we're 3-0 down, we may as well go for it. What have we got to lose? Roll our sleeves up, let's get involved, and let's make sure that we've got something to do. So he can have a can-do attitude, or I can't-do attitude. Hopefully the graphic suggests that he chose the can-do attitude. Because what happened in the extraordinary final is that Steven Gerrard, he led his team out after half-time. Within about 2 minutes he scored the first goal, he made the second. Liverpool drew 3-3 with a penalty late on. It went to penalties and Liverpool won the Champions League. It was the 5th time they'd won that Champions League, which meant they get to keep the trophy. I understand, Liverpool fans, yeah, back me up. They get to keep the trophy, and I genuinely believe that the desire, the determination, the resilience, that ability to want to win, coupled of course with the talent which all of you have got in the room, all of that put together in the washing machine, so to speak, come out with them winning the Champions League. Because he wanted it, he got it. And look, I'm never going to win the X Factor, right? Because I can't sing a note. See, told you I weren't lying. So I can't sing a note, so I'm never going to win the X Factor. But realistically, I can set myself goals and have a plan to make sure that I go out there and achieve what I want to achieve. And that's ultimately what I think Steven Gerrard did. So, to sum up, let's have a little think about this guy waffling on the stage. 2 things I want you to think about. Firstly, if you haven't got a plan, if you haven't got a goal, go get yourself one. It's really easy to do. You can sit down right after this session, just write 3 things down that you want to achieve by the summer, and go and achieve them. Challenge yourself. Go on, I dare you. You can do one thing. Everyone, a good friend of mine once said to me, anyone can do something for a week. Anyone. So go give it a go. Go give it, whatever it is, go give it a go. Just try it for the next few months or so. And I'll leave you with this. Who wants to be Steven Gerrard? Who wants to be the person that is sitting there, negative, not wanting to lead, but just will sit there and just want to coast through like I used to in my school days with my Bunsen burner? Or who wants to be Steven Gerrard? Who wants to be that person that leads, who wants to go out there and achieve and actually go and get what they want to do? It's your choice, guys, because I look around the room and I see everybody has the ability to want to go and achieve. It's just up to you if you want to do it or not. Okay, thanks very much for your time. Okay, so I think we've got a bit of time over. It might have overrun. No, I feel like bang on. So we've got any cues, questions? Okay, Tamsin. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good question. Okay, so just to repeat that so everyone can hear that. The job shop work with a lot of people through the Job Centre Plus. They've been unemployed for a while, and they get a lot of people that are quite negative about looking for work. because they've been out of work for a long period of time. Which actually, if you think about it, it's quite understandable, isn't it? You know, they keep applying for jobs, they keep getting no, they keep getting knocked back, and have to get back up, try again, and keep getting no's and getting knockbacks. My advice to people like that would be to try and do something different. And here's the thing, this is a bit wacky, but this is what I'm like, so I'm going to tell you a story, okay? So I'm a fly, okay? I'm a fly, I'm a normal fly, and it's a lovely summer's day, and the window's open, okay, in the room. So I'm a fly, and I fly in that window, and then somebody closes that window, shuts the door, and I'm trapped, okay? So I'm flying around the room, I look at the window, I go, bang, I hit the window, because the window's shut, right, so I can't get down. I can't get out of the room. Shake myself off, brush myself down, flying around, bang, hit the window. How many times am I, as the fly, gonna hit that window before I get out? How many times? Anyone? How many times?
30, 40.
Well, it's infinity, right? Because the law of averages telling you that a fly cannot get out of a double glazed window. Absolutely impossible. So that fly needs to change what they're doing. That fly needs to do something different. That fly needs to look at the seal in the window to see if there's a gap, look under the door, wait strategically until somebody opens that window, that door, in order to get out. Because it doesn't matter how many times that fly buzzes around, they're never getting out of a closed window, correct? So the point of that story, and to come back to your question, is if you keep doing the same thing, if you keep writing the same CV, the same opening statement, the same interview application process, that's the reason why you keep getting no after no after no. Do something different, stand out from the crowd, make something, showcase your personality. That would be my advice to people that are trying to get noticed. Okay? Good story, I thought. I used that for half-time team talk once. We was 2-0 down at half-time, 1-4-2. Get to them. Hello. Hold on, I'm doing my own roving mic here. Come on, Mark, what's the matter?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so from Maidstone, this is Dan, who's doing level 3 business. Why did you stop working for Alan Sugar, and did you think there wasn't any more to learn?
Okay, let me answer that in reverse. So is that son? Dan. Hi Dan, how you doing Dan? Thanks for the question, great question. Let's answer that in reverse. Always stuff to learn, absolutely always. So the minute you think you've learned it all and you know it all, wrong. You're always learning. How can you know for a fact that you've always you're complete when every day is different? And that's what's really, really important. It's always important that you're always learning. And the first part of the question, why did I stop working for Lord Sugar, for Sir Alan as I know him? Because I learnt what I needed to learn at that point in time, and I always wanted to start my own business. And no matter how much blood, sweat and tears I ploughed into Amscreen, and I had a fantastic time there, and I love what I learned from Lord Sugar and his son Simon, it was never going to be my business, ever. Now I stand here pointing to my logo, that's mine, that's my business, I own the whole lot. So the reason why and it was a tough decision, don't get me wrong, I was on a lot of money, and it was very, very hard for me to quit my job. But ultimately I quit my job with Lord Sugar to set my business up. And I might have had to take a step backwards, but boy, when I sell my business, I'm going to be taking 15 steps forwards. That's good, I look down the camera, so hopefully you're watching, Dan. Good, we're getting more. This is, we're still on campus, right?
It's from Maidstone. So we've got another level 3 business student, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Once you achieve a £1 million profit in your current business, what will be your next challenge?
Good. Hopefully on a beach somewhere with my family on a boat or something like that in Barbados. I don't know, I think I'm looking to exit from the business. I can't, Steve, it's a fantastic question, I can't actually tell you that because I don't know. My finger in the wind business plan when I started the business was £1 million OP. If I get there, hopefully I'll get the big corporate organisations looking at me as an acquisition, in other words, purchasing me, and if they purchase my organisation, then that's when I can pinch myself and go, whoa, you're a multi-millionaire now. So hopefully that is the plan, but fingers crossed, I'm still focused on my 5-year plan first. Oh, blimey, these lot are doing you down here, come on.
They're coming quick and fast on this day. Right, so we've got another level 3 business student, Lucas. He wants to know what are your weaknesses or areas for development.
Okay, thanks for that one, Lucas. My weaknesses are probably public speaking. That's another joke. Jeez, man, what's no? Yeah, no, I'm all joked out. Yeah, my weakness is clearly jokes, because they're not funny. I'll probably say my weakness is the finance side. I know that I've got a massive element to do, and I know it probably sounds silly, it's a one-man company, but when you run your own business, especially when you're starting it off, and you haven't got the finances to bring in expertise from all over, so you have to wear a sales hat, you have to put your MD hat on, you have to put your finance hat on, you have to put your credit control hat on. So I'd probably say finance, and what I'm doing to help myself that is looking at different courses, putting myself through financial courses, working alongside my financial director that I've just employed at RTA as well, to make sure that I brush up on them skills. I think it's incredibly important that you can't be an expert in something if you're an expert in all things, because that means you're not an expert by its own definition. So I'm a strong believer in bringing good people around you to be experts in that field, hence my FD, Matt. However, I am brushing up and helping and learning from him in order to brush up on them skills. I always worry, just on that one, Steve, I always worry that the downfall of my business will be the lack of financial skills.
We have another question. We've got a ha-ha as well.
Oh, what a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Joke, I have a question here from Rob. He's a level 3 business student. If you lose your motivation, how do you get it back?
Okay, good question, Rob. I think I've covered that off in terms of having a plan, having a goal, making sure I succeed. Sometimes you want to keep. Sometimes you want to. You have that resilience to try to keep getting back up. But it's having that plan, knowing that you can succeed. The fly in the room stories, changing something if it's not working, then change something and mix it up a little bit. So for me, it's about not losing your motivation as such, but effectively changing what you're doing and changing the outcome to affect that. Oh yeah, so we've got a question over here as well. Well, ladies first, no thanks. Oh, that's gentlemanly. Hi, what's your name?
Jazz.
Jazz. Hello, Jazz.
You said you've seen loads of CVs as an employer, so what advice would you give people to make their CVs stand out?
Okay, yeah, so we'll see, I can't count how many CVs, I've seen hundreds of thousands. Key skills, bullet points, 2-page only would be off the top of my head. Don't waffle on, don't have a book. Your opening statement or your summary of yourself needs to be attractive. It needs to sell yourself really quickly in words. It has to be different to everyone else that's sitting on the same line as you or in this room, which will probably be the same. How many CVs have you read or your opening statement? Hi, I'm a young, enthusiastic person that has the ability to go the extra mile, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've all seen it before, it don't mean nothing. What I would do in your personal statement, all of you, and it's a really good question, is to reflect your personality. Who are you? Well, what do you do? Do you bungee jump? Wow, so that means you're quite outgoing. How does that affect what you write in that personal statement? Maybe it's not just words, maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a video, maybe it's something that's completely different that catches the attention of that potential employer. So for me, it's about standing out from the crowd and doing something different. Put credible things down there. If you haven't had work experience as such, where have you done things that could be related back to your work? Showcase that you can actually do that, be credible. We call it competency, right? So having competencies, back it up. So whenever you're saying something, whether or not it's in interview or on your CV, back it up with evidence, okay? I think I'm a really good, enthusiastic person. Well, why? Well, why do you think that? So put a definition around why you're enthusiastic, and that's different to what everyone else will write. Well, hopefully everyone else will follow that advice. But good question, thanks, Jess. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, what's your name? Owen. Hi, mate.
You said about the plans that you make and how if you don't plan, you may well plan to fail. But what about when you plan and other things get in the way and you fail the plan as a result?
Okay, yeah.
Something that I've been told a few times is there's a difference between a plan and a goal.
Yeah.
A goal John doesn't have a time limit on it, whereas a plan does. But I, as I said, I like to plan. I have to plan because that's how I work. But if that plan fails, what then?
I think it needs to be good question, Owen. I think it needs to be agile. I think it needs to be able to move around that plan. I've worked in corporate organisations now for the best part of 8-9 years or so before obviously setting up my business. And when you set a business plan, so a plan around your business, it does not change. So it cannot be agile. It does not change. What does change is your forecast. So you'll forecast against your plan, and that can be manoeuvred and changed around. Because look, things happen, right? Things change, different things are getting in people's way. You know, it might be that you've planned to do £2 million in your business and your best client, I don't know, say Volvo, being your best client, might walk away and go to one of your competitors. Oh, didn't see that coming. Well, knowledge is power, by the way, so you should have done that bit. But if you didn't see that coming, you have to adjust your plan. So I think it's that ability to be able to knowing when to adjust, but actually to set yourself a plan and not achieve it is better than to not set yourself a plan and not know what you've achieved. So, good stuff. Another question here in the front.
Two questions, really.
Oh, go on then. What's your name?
Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
The first question is, are you a firm believer in that it's better to be a jack of all trades rather than master of one?
Can I answer that now?
Yes.
Absolutely not. I'm a firm believer in being an expert in what you are going to do. Strength to your bow, yes. Let me put it into context. If you're working in an environment that you're selling a certain service or you're providing a certain service, if you were making cups of tea, then you were making, if you're a tea maker, and then you were a mechanic, and then you were selling recruitment services, I'd much rather probably buy more from somebody who is just a tea maker and or just a mechanic and or just selling recruitment services. So for me, the jack of all trades is good to have, and actually as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you need to have certain things. But as I said before, I'd rather have an expert in finance than me pretending to be an expert. So for me, no.
But obviously that isn't necessary when you're starting up your business.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the hardest things about setting up a business, if I'm brutally honest, Ryan, is that you have to wear all them different hats, and you have to be able to be the salesman, be the MD, be the finance person, be the credit controller, and that's tough. And I did find that hard. But if you bring people in that are experts in that field, that's where you've got a good team around you, and that's where your business can thrive. So that's what I'm believing. Very much. Top man, cheers, Ryan. Okay, have we got any? Hello, we're back in the mix.
Dan wants to know, if you were to come back to college now, what would you do?
Okay, if I was to come back to college now, okay. Put it this way, if I was to go back to school, I know you said college, so sorry, Dan, I'm changing your question, but if I was to go back to school, I'd get straight A's, because I'm majorly, I was going to swear then, sorry. I'm majorly competitive, and I'm an intelligent guy, and I know what it takes now. So if I came back to school, I know that I wouldn't get 1 C, 2 D's, 3 E's and 2 F's like I did before in my GCSEs. I'd go and get, definitely A to C's, probably straight A's. If I came back to college, in the capacity that I would have been in your world rather than what I'm in now, I would come and I would do an apprenticeship without a shadow of a doubt. I learn on the job, I get key skills on the job, and I also get a qualification. For me, knowing what I know now about employers, knowing what I know now about my ability to be able to learn, why wouldn't I do an apprenticeship? I absolutely would. I wouldn't. This is maybe controversial, but I'm just answering the question. I wouldn't go to university. I don't see the point in it. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not going to be a vet. I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a salesperson. So I'm going to go and do an apprenticeship in sales and become the best that I can be at the earliest that I can be at.
Damien, I assume it's one of our personal tutors who would like to know, if you do retire at 42, what will you be doing when you're 50, and what will drive you there?
Thanks, Damien. I'll probably be bored and probably doing something in business again. Look, I don't know. I mean, for me, I want to be able to spend some time with my family. I currently work 70 hours, 72 hours, 78 hours a week. So I don't get to see my young. I've got a 2.5-year-old girl called Millie, and I've got identical twin girls that are 7 months old as well. So I want to be able to see them grow up and spend some time with them. So I'll probably focus on doing some stuff around that. I've always wanted to, it sounds a cliche because everyone says it, but I've always wanted to do some property stuff. I've got 3 properties now from my mortgage at 18, so maybe get involved and spend some of my hard-earned money in buying and selling properties, doing them up, bit of development, that sort of stuff. So I'm sure my wife will keep me busy, Damien.
Slightly tricky question here. The question's been fed through from our Director of Higher Education, mostly. He wants to know, do you really see no value in higher education outside of studying for medical or veterinary degree?
Look, I think it depends on what you're looking to do. I think 15 years ago, 15 years ago, when a certain Tony Blair was the Prime Minister, he promised everyone to go to university and you'd get a job out at the end of it. But the fact of the matter is, or the reality of the situation is, that's incorrect. You can do a university degree now in circus skills, which is completely pointless and completely irrelevant unless you're going to be working in a circus. So I don't see them completely irrelevant. I think it has some fantastic social skills and some lifestyle skills. But I do question if you had somebody who went to university and come out as a 23-year-old and done a degree that it wasn't going to use, and you had somebody that went to work or done on-the-job learning that they were going to use in their career, who would be the best qualified? And I, as an employer, all day long will go with the latter. Sorry.
Steve also wants to know, do you still wear high-techs?
Oh, what?
Do you still wear high-techs?
I don't wear high-techs anymore, actually. That's very good. I've gone up in the world. I'm currently wearing Hugo Boss, which is quite nice. Are we done? Are we done? Fantastic. Thanks ever so much. You've been brilliant. I really appreciate you listening to me. Cheers, guys.
Before you go, just a reminder, you need to leave this way and just to swap the cards on the way out. Also, before we go, can I just say a big thank you to the media team, the students that have been videoing, and our team over in Maidstone as well for supporting